have a lot of questions that we still need to get answers to, but whatever questions come
Yeah, yeah, no
out,
problem.
I'll let you know what I currently can answer.
All right, so I'm sure we're gonna still hear some more beeps coming in with the lobby, but I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, Jerry, just as a starting off point to show the recs you have,
All right.
or the descriptions rather. Okay. So everyone, I know I sent you notes yesterday with the 3 job descriptions. They are pretty thorough, which is great. That's something I know you guys are always asking for here, as well as Jerry's kind of quick notes he got from the client. Jerry, I wanted to check any specific rec you think is best to start with. Any preference here?
Yeah, just the electrical field
Just like
engineer.
perfect. Okay. So quick logistics, guys, is we are looking for a high volume here and kind of a quick play as well. Um, Not even including the descriptions here, but once we start getting candidates coming into Wand, Jerry and Covet are going to be looking them over to see if their resumes match the qualifications that they really need. Once they deem them worthy, they're going to be sharing daily to the client to review on their side to see if they are interested in them. And if they do get a thumbs up there, it's likely going to be some sort of quick interview to confirm that they are, worthy of joining this role for the short duration that we have here. It could be as high as 15 positions each or even more. It just depends on how much quality talent we have in. Um, the more the better, obviously. So that's kind of the play we have right now, but it is a, a hurry up situation here. We just want to get as many quality candidates as quick as possible. And with that, Jerry, you want to just kind of jump in high level, what type of talent you're looking for and what type of role they're really be supporting here?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so this is for Southern Company. They're finishing up a couple of their nuke units, Vogel units 3 and 4, in Georgia, and they're getting to the point where they they need to finish up a lot of construction, start some startup and commissioning activities, and they're looking for as many as 75 positions, with about 85% of those being electrical and INC roles, and the balance of mechanical roles. And so they have the job descriptions here. Essentially, they're looking for resources that have, degreed engineers with 6 or more years of experience, or non-degreed resources that have, at least 12 years of experience. And what they're looking for primarily is field engineering resources that have, done some startup commissioning. Obviously, if they have a nuclear background, that's a plus, but it's not a requirement. And if you find individuals that have, degreed engineers that have, 4 or 5 or maybe even 3 of good field engineering experience, startup commissioning type activities that on their resumes, don't hesitate to submit those as well.
Okay. Um,
That's kind of a
I,
high level overview.
yeah, and I see the preferred qualifications listed here, Jerry. You want to touch that a little bit, or starting
Yeah,
with the basic, and we'll we'll cross that if we actually need it.
yeah. Obviously, if anybody that has industrial quality standard experience, um, has done, field inspections on electrical designs, mechanical designs, um, kind of what's listed there for the electrical. Um, a lot of this stuff is pretty much standard for the mechanicals. Those that have piping experience, ASME piping experience, and intermediate advanced experience field engineering activities of nuclear power plants, non-reactor nuclear facilities or any large GPC projects. So pretty standard requirements that you find in somebody that has experience as a field engineer.
Okay, and again, all of these three descriptions, everyone, I feel they are pretty strong. It's not just kind of a boilerplate for responsibilities and skills they're looking for, which is great. Real quick, back to Jerry's other email with the quick notes. And I know we touched a lot of this already, but multiple positions for all three recs, not just the one we're talking about here, and it could be up to 75. The location for the plant, it's Plant Vogel in Waynesboro, Georgia. The assignment duration, we're listing it as it's going to be in 6 months in one, but it is, according to Jerry, about 3 to 6 months. He mentioned in a separate email to me that it might extend even further than that. It just really depends. They know it's trickling into the first quarter of 2022. Jerry, do you think there is any, hard stop date on this, or just whenever the work's done? Can't really put a number on it, truly.
Yeah, it's other than what they've given us, that 3 to 6 month time period, but just based on experience, starting up, power plants, things happen, and those schedules seem to extend a little bit. So
Okay, perfect. And pulling up another email, guys. So these were some quick questions we already received from one agency. So I wanted to share it with the larger group here too. So big thing that I'm sure you're going to be talking to candidates about is per diem. We're waiting on an answer from Southern to see exactly what that looks like. So hoping to get that today or tomorrow. One thing that Jerry's team did mention is they don't think they're going to be lowballing. They feel it's going to be fairly generous, but we're waiting on official numbers or at least a range to share with you all and the candidates. Next is just overtime. So this is all just still kind of an assumption here, but it's going to be at least 50 hours a week. They think it can go definitely past that. It says it could be overnights and weekends. So it is not just going to be a typical 40-hour-a-week job, obviously. Background screen, we're waiting to see if there's any specific requirements from Southern on this. Black & Veatch has their own requirements for anyone working within a nuclear environment like this that is already listed in the supplier handbook that we've shared with you. But we're checking on that first to see if it even matches the Black & Veatch requirements, and if there is any differences, we're going to let you all know right away. Because obviously, with these positions, if we're working quickly to get the hires, one of the longest waiting and pain points might just be the background screen to wait till they're officially clear to start. So more details on all three of those categories to come. And then just the last thing, it's ASAP. As soon as we get the thumbs up from Southern, we're ready to start the background process, and they can start as soon as that clears. Anything else on that you want to add, Jerry?
No, I think that's pretty much covers it.
Right. So let's go on to the next one. Jerry, was yours the IC field engineer?
Yeah, Cavita will have the electrical and INC positions.
Oh, she'll have both of these.
Yeah, she'll have both of those.
I don't believe she has joined just yet. Did you want to at least give it a shot, Jerry? If I pull it up to see if you can high level speak to it.
It's going to be very similar to the electrical, but focus more on controls, and
okay,
it should read very similar.
Okay, I'll just quickly pull it up here. And sure. Same thing he mentioned Jerry mentioned with experience. There's different levels. The minimum if they have a degree, and if they don't have a degree, the years needs to shoot up. Same qualifications as far as working in a nuclear facility and being able to pass the background. And just pulling up the other one. But again, as you guys do see, it is pretty thorough description. So at this point, since Cavita is not yet on the call, let's focus on the first job description we shared for the electrical field engineer, and really just in general about the client itself to see if Jerry has anything he can help your suppliers and recruiters with. So gonna open up the lines here. Does anyone have any questions for Jerry about these roles? Feel free to unmute yourself.
Jerry, I know that you said, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's like, when is your expected start date for these people? And what is your interview process? Are we doing few interviews? How soon are you going to start that? Those sorts of things.
You want to take that, Zach, or?
Yeah, so I mean, the first one, it's just ASAP. We're gonna start presenting the resumes to candidates as soon as they come in, and as soon as they give the thumbs up, which they have expressed urgency, then we're gonna be able to move forward. We're still feeling out what is gonna happen with the interview process, though. But to be clear, there's no interview on the front end with Jerry or Kavita. They're looking strictly at the resumes to see if it matches up with the skills and requirements on the job descriptions, and then they're going to forward it over to Southern to review on their side. After Southern gets it, there might be an interview just outside of the lawn system with that candidate with Southern, or they might be able to move quickly as well just by looking at the resume. With that being said, one thing we did talk about yesterday is Jerry and his team, after Southern does give a thumbs up one way or another, they might have a quick conversation, since it is kind of Black and Veatch on the line for these candidates, even though they're obviously being submitted by you and employed by you, just to make sure, as kind of like a last little check to make sure that they are appropriate and ready to be hired. But
just
more specifics on that soon.
Back, so Southern Company is going to make the decision on who's accepted for the job. We aren't sure what the interview process looks like yet. That is clear. Thank you for clarifying that. When they're on the job site, will these workers be taking direction from Black and Veatch or from Southern?
Again, we're not 100% sure, but Bechtel is a contractor building the plant, so I assume a lot of them kind of view this as a staff augmentation role. So they may be taking direction directly from Bechtel, and in some instances it may be more from Southern Company.
Yeah, but
do you have any idea about rates? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Real quick, as far as just what Jerry just mentioned, yeah, obviously dotted line, it's going to be with Southern. But as far as within the system, for all of you, all intents and purposes, Black and Veatch is still approving time, and they have someone they report into with Black and Veatch, but they're going to be at a site. They're going to be dotted line reporting to someone there to make sure they're getting the job done. As far as rates, though, that's obviously a huge question. We have lines out in two avenues here. So with Pro, we're doing a market rate check, and we should be getting those details today, just based on the descriptions. And with Jerry's team, they're seeing if Southern has a rate card that they can share. So it's not a perfect translation, because that's rates to a larger company such as Black and Veatch, but that'll help determine what specifically, just based with Pro's rates, what we need to be focusing on. So if you have candidates today, I would hold off at least until the recs are open and we have the rates in. There's only drafts for these recs until we get the official rate information. Does that help? I know it's not an answer, but it's a timeline.
Yeah, you said Black and Veatch plus Southern Company may have their own background criterias to do. Just ballpark. If we had a guy, if you had everything ready to go, and we had a guy that interviewed the first time, we would to do his background and such. Just ballpark how long that would take.
That's tough. I know nuclear takes a little bit longer. Just there's a little bit more items to be screening in general for Black and Veatch. I'm seeing it takes about 7 to 10 business days for the standard background check. I would say probably about 2 weeks to get that through, but it really just depends how quick everyone uses HireRight here, how quick HireRight's moving. But we are aware of that. We're thinking about that when we're trying to identify candidates and move as quick as possible. And just the fact that it's nuclear site and just Black and Veatch in general, we're not going to be able to get exception to those backgrounds. We're going to have to get 100% clearance on all items.
Hey, Zach, this is Deb Monter.
Yeah, hey, Dan.
As far as, you know, Jerry, are they still getting computers through us?
I believe so.
Okay, so they're the minimum amount of turnaround time we need in order to get, you know, once we know that we get the email that says, hey, this person started, has their ID number and everything, we need a minimum of 2 weeks before they can start, because that's about how long it's going to take for us to get the computer ordered, you know, get it in the build room, and then get it shipped to that person where they're going to be. So
Yeah, good call out. Thanks, Dan.
And I need to follow up on that and see if we're planning on issuing computers to all these field engineers or not. But it may be a case by case basis, but we'll see.
Okay. Ashley, it looks like you get a question.
Yeah, just a quick question. I noticed on one of the job descriptions that the employees will be subject to random drug and alcohol testing. Is that something that would be administered by Southern, or is that something that we as a supplier and their employer would be doing, and how would that work exactly?
I don't know that I have the answer to that, but I would assume that's something, a program that's administered at site.
That's on the list now, Ashley, though. We'll try to track down an answer on that. Good call out.
Hi, Zach. Dan Ward with TPG. Is the overtime exempt or non-exempt, since you have an engineering tag on this?
That is also a good question. My assumption, it's still going to be non-exempt. Nicole, I know you're used to this realm a little bit more than me. Do you have an answer on that, or do we need to quickly do some research to get back to everyone?
Yeah, non-exempt, Zach.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
as
hi.
far as this one?
Yeah, hi. This is Gus over at Distinctive Personnel. How you guys doing?
Good.
All right, cool. Just a quick question. I mean, just for scheduling purposes, as far as the rate, you say you don't have a ballpark figure of what the pay for the the contractor would be. That would be helpful before we start even reaching out to candidates. Do you have any idea of the ballpark figure, and when would be the start date?
So start date is just going to depend on background and laptop, like we mentioned, but it's ASAP as soon as those items are taken care of and a candidate's identified. As far as rate, I'm hoping for the pro side of the rate today. And once that's shared, I'm going to huddle up with Jerry and his team. But ultimately, it does come down to what Southern's looking for on their rate card. So just, I'm not sure how far Jerry went into this, but he's expecting less experience, middle ground, and then the high end of experience based on these job descriptions. So they're going to have kind of tiers for these rate cards. So with that in mind, if the recs that are open today and wand with a rate, it's going to show as always the max bill rate, but you guys need to be submitting based on the years of experience for the candidate. So if the main job descriptions are for 6+ years and you're submitting a candidate for 2, obviously we need to flex that down so it can be reviewed, and if we think it's still a good fit, it fits into that lower tier of the rate card. But right now, again, you have no info. We're totally understanding of that, but as soon as we get it, we'll make it clear to you what those ranges are. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Zach, when do you expect these postings to hit the tool through Wand?
I would say, Jerry, do you think we're going to get answers from Southern on your questions today as far as the rate?
I sure hope so. That's what I'm going to plan on.
Okay.
But I would say for sure.
Yeah, I would say, Brent, definitely by Friday, but I'm hoping today. I'm hoping Jerry has an email just hanging out with those rates on his side. And then pros, I'm checking my email every kind of 15 minutes right now. We should be getting that fairly soon.
Hey, Zach, it's Nikki with System One. I had a quick question for you. I don't know if this is brought up yet or not. It came in a little bit late, but what are y'all doing for MOB demob?
That's a question we currently have for Southern, to see what kind of allowances are made for mobilization and demobilization as well as travel.
Okay. All right.
So,
thank you.
As soon as we have that, we'll forward that.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure. Yeah, I know that's a big question for candidates, of course. So yeah, that's aside from rate in general, that's number 2 on the list to get to you guys.
And we're still waiting on them to give us the per diem amount exactly also, correct?
Yes.
Yep. A couple of the other questions that we have out are, what's the plan for Christmas? Will there be are they going to work through Christmas, or is there any scheduled time off rotations to, for home leave? So those a couple other questions we have to Southern right now.
Looks like we have another hand up. Not seeing who it is. 1 second.
Hey, Zach, this
Lost it.
is Levi. Hey, what about night scheduled? Are we thinking it's like a percentage of these folks will be working at night? Second, third shift?
I'm pretty sure that there'll be some shift work involved. So yeah, some of the individuals may be asked to work second or third shifts.
Okay.
Anybody else? And I know we don't have Kavita to discuss her description, but if we're not going to be able to have her join, obviously shoot me emails about it. And, you can try to ask Jerry here, but that's kind of more her wheelhouse for the other 2 roles. But yeah, any question about the description and the responsibilities, skill set you're looking for at all, or is it all just kind of logistics right now as far as per diem, rate, timeline, etc.?
Right. So Zach, on the piping, I'm assuming that if you had a 25-year piping designer, field, nuclear, non-degreed, that would be suitable?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, hey, it's over 12 years. If they can fit into the confines of the rate, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. If there's nothing else, I think we can end a little bit early here. The point of this call was just to get your teams kind of raring to go. I know there's still some outstanding items here that we're going to share with you shortly before the Recs open. But once they do, we're hoping we can get those submittals coming in quickly. Just remember to, when you submit them, the candidate summary and make sure the resume is attached. Jerry and Kavita are going to be quickly looking at those and kind of consolidating into one email too over to Southern. So yeah, I want to make it as easy as possible for them to just kind of quickly look at the candidates.
Zach, I don't know if you mentioned, but we expect this. I don't know if you can hear me.
I hear you.
Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
you're good. Yep.
We're kind of expecting, if these recs get open here by Friday, whatever you have, just submit them, piecemeal them in. Don't hold on to them. Kind of expect to receive, resumes over the next couple weeks, and we'll review them in daily and send them to Southern as we get them.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, I think we're pretty good here, unless there's any last questions by suppliers.
I just had Skip Berry with Transglobal. Just one question. A lot of times when we're supplying directly to Black and Veatch, if you ever worked for Black and Veatch before, please identify where or who your lead was. It's the same way on Southern Company. When we submit somebody to Southern Company, if you ever worked on a Southern Company facility, you have to give the last 4 of the Social Security to make sure they're eligible for rehire. Is that still in the same process here on this application?
That's a good question. We did bring this up yesterday, and we kind of landed on, we have the ability to check that it's someone who's worked at Black and Veatch before, but we don't necessarily have that info for other clients. We can check the resumes and stuff, and we recommend checking if they did work at Southern before, if they ended on good terms, and that's about it. But the onus is kind of going to be on Southern, the person on their team who's reviewing the resumes, to see if there's any rehire or non-rehireability with them. So you should not have to
Thank you.
share a social or anything like that in their previous Southern supervisor. All right. I think that should do it then. If you guys do think of anything else, again, this is like priority number 1 right now with the power group. So feel free to just shoot me an email and I'll quickly reach out to Jerry and the team to try to get a quick answer or just add it to the list for Southern to provide with us. Any last thoughts, Jerry, that you wanted to share with everyone?
No, nothing yet. Just the sooner we can get resumes in front of Southern, the better. So appreciate everybody's support in this.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thanks everyone. Appreciate it. Jerry, thank you for your time. Everyone else on the call, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good day.
You as well.